Well, first of all, I just want to thank every one of you. I know 99.9% of you in the room, and the other, whatever's left, I was told there would be no math. Welcome, and so good to meet you. And your love and support is really what I want to be the takeaway for today. What our mission was, after writing the book and deciding to get it out there, was to create as much noise, if you will, before Christmas about the book. So we did 2 signings in San Diego, we did 2 signings in San Jose, and Indira was at both of them. Indira was able to host one of them, which was amazing, and then we did 2 in LA, and this was all in a month and a half, 1 month and 1/2. And then, but originally what started the whole thing off was I called up Sally Joy and I said, Sal, I want to do this. I think it's best to do something up there. What do you think? And we looked at all kinds of different ideas about what we should do, but I kept coming back to the idea that it really needed to be here because the painting was such a seminal part. And I must confess, last night was the first time that I ever saw it. I've been dealing with it in the digital form all the time. So, in fact, it completely changed what Marcy and I were going to talk about today. But Marcy convinced me, like she does with most things. She is the optimist in the family. That this is a Christmas message, even though it's not a Christmas setting. And I say that because the book, for those of you who haven't had a chance to look at it yet, follows the last year of our life. Really about 9 months. 9 months. Anyways. What I decided to do is take my journal entries and use them as a way to start, to give a form and a structure. That would make some sense as a story. I'm a professional storyteller, have been since I got out of college. I've written screenplays, I've written voiceover copy, I've written radio ads, I've written all these other things. This is my first book. But I wanted to write a book that would be readable. So that was the structure that we gave. What is significant for me personally, and the reason why coming to my home, basically, you guys, even though we have an LA area code, you're our family. I don't always have the same amount of words or the right words to describe this, and I force myself as a professional storyteller and a writer to find words that no one's used before because they can become overused and lose their meaning. But the word blossom doesn't quite say it, but I burst up out of the ground last Christmas. So this Christmas is a Christmas where I am able to step forward fully in my heels and celebrate. So personally, that's why it's amazing to be with you all today. So let me get it together so I can read. I was in the middle of what I didn't realize was going to be a career, not change, but I'm technically an executive producer in adventure reality survival television. I didn't have all that on my business card for all my career, but in the last 5 years, it really became who I was and what my resume got me as my next gig. The show that helped define my career was also one of the last ones I did, and it was called Dude, You're Screwed. I'm not making that up. It aired for 2 seasons on Discovery, and by the time I wrote the chapter that I'm about to read you, it was pretty much a done deal that we weren't going to get a third season, and that we weren't going to be able to. It didn't have anything to do with our success, and it had everything to do with a sea change at the network, where it completely changed all of the upper level management of everything, and we got lost in that storm, which is unfortunate. But when you hear me say DYS or dude, you're screwed, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. You would think I would have this chapter marked. But I also signed my copy for David, who was about to leave, and then realized I gave him the wrong one. Hey, David, this is your book. Forgive me. And also, I realized we haven't said this out loud, that this is live streaming to the Zuzubeam Press website, because I had several dear friends tell me, wow, sure wish I could be there. I'm like, great, now you can. Table of contents, that's kind of cool. Okay, this is chapter 22. Too late to go back to sleep. Now that the court says I'm me, I can go public. And I've been gearing up for the big announcement. In today's social media world, you really can go wide about anything from a baby's cold to your opinion about the next president. I've never been much of a Facebooker, preferring email or to actually talk to my family and friends. But since I can't sit down and have the chat with everyone, I'll get through the concentric circles that define my life by phone or in person, and then take to cyberspace for my far and wider universe. Instead of making a formal announcement, I'm just going to post my new profile picture and name, pictures being 1,000 words in all, and change that M to an F. Does it come in bright red? That was the plan anyway, and I had almost completed my circles, those concentric rings of family and friends that emanate outward from your sphere of influence to those who fall in the upper stratosphere, labeled, might find this of interest. My circles were my love, heart of the center, my sisters, the center, my family, brother-in-laws and family, aunts, cousins, and children, the other side of the center, close friends, around the center, tight friends, guarding the center, college friends, concerned about the center, childhood friends, like to hear about the center, business associates, outside the center, and the world as labeled. I still had a few that might be considered tight friends and one or two business associates left before I could handle the rest by text. The tightest, and probably the most critical of the tight friend circle, were the guys that I had studied TV and film with. In college, we referred to ourselves as the tag team. Like the knucklehead wrestlers on Saturday afternoon TV, we would all dogpile on everything from an instructor's challenge to a keg of beer. And we've remained very close for the last 30 years, despite living now in more than 4 different states. We stay in touch with each other through an email chain called Ski or Don't Ski, which determines, among other things, where we'll meet each year for a long weekend to ski and pretend we're all 30 years younger. Ski or Don't Ski reflects our philosophy of life. Put up or shut up. We won't judge one way or the other. Either you're on the bus or you're not. We'll catch up when we return, and we'll still love you if you don't come. Now, fair disclosure, though these guys are some of my closest friends, I haven't been on the ski trip in years. They will admit, only if pressed, that I am not only just one, but the founding member. Being the only mountain kid at a beach town university of San Diego State, I talked everyone into pooling our money and heading to Mammoth one year, and the annual event was born. Now, I also never agreed that this is and should ever be a boys-only trip. Funny that they always try to remember the past to their advantage. They're forgetting that some of us were actually there and were paying attention. This didn't become an issue until I got married. I never knew I was breaking a rule, nor would I have cared. But when my love and I were queuing up to have her come, the fit hit the shan, and I saw a side of my bros that made me queasy. I was welcome, but the girl in my life was not. What is this? When did this become the He-Man Woman Haters Club? I admit I didn't take their decree seriously. I mean, how could I? First off, these trips ain't cheap. And as we all got older, we wanted more, bigger, better, and cooler, which made the cost of the weekend the same as if my love and I both spent a week together skiing at Mammoth. It didn't make any sense. If I was going to blow that much powder, pun intended, on seeing them, my love should come too. But here's where my tendency to see how everything could work slammed broadsided into the group mentality, and I admit I was caught up short. This started World War III, which resulted in each one of them taking turns trying to convince me of the folly of my feelings. It wasn't as simple as me not skiing. They wanted to make me change my mind and come. This was completely against our stated philosophy listed above. I couldn't do it. How was I supposed to kiss my love goodbye and have fun when she was at home wanting to be out with us? And this is a conundrum that these guys could never understand because they were looking at me as a guy. So I opted out quietly, but missed them terribly. And after a while, it festered into full-blown hurt that my protest never yielded the change. I did stay in touch with them, the ski or don't ski email chain, and tried to see them separately as the opportunities presented themselves through the years. And we remained close, despite not seeing me in winter clothing, and when any schedule in my schedule in the recent years made it possible, I'd call in from some remote part of the world by satellite phone, which only added to my legend. But the email chain gets, well, as everything boys do when they think they're alone, it gets raunchy. And that's putting it mildly. If it didn't include several homophobic jabs and at least 2 references to farting, then it would be a gross description of each other's mother. As a side note, most men allow one "your mother is" joke per man per day, but that's it. Okay? In other words, normal boy stuff. But these are the men I love, and I needed to have the chat with each one individually before they read about me on Facebook. So I began a week of calls. The first one was to my old buddy CL, or Stay Puff as he's called in the tag team, a reference to a certain thrift store parka he once rocked on the slopes. Puffer is a father of 3 college students. He's one of the 3 Angelinos who produces movies for Lifetime, and we see each other all the time. Now, I owe Puff a lot. He bought the first show I ever created, Pug and Zero, and since then we've made some great TV together. I finished telling him my news. Dead silence. Okay, he was quiet for an eternity, a master of the pregnant pause. Finally, he spoke. Wow. Well, I have 2 questions. The first may cancel out the second. So here goes. Are you punking me? No, Puffy, I am not. Okay, so secondly, are you okay? Are you happy? How can I help? This is why I love this man. Our conversation dug deeper into my past and pain and whatever, but he started what would become a common thread. Each one of the tag team would bet that the other guys would be the ones to have a problem with my coming out. Boys can be so weird. P. Daddy pledged support and love, and I signed off by asking that he keep this to himself until I had had a chance to have this same chat with every one of the other guys. He would know that it was all clear when I came out on the ski or don't ski email chain. He said he looked forward to it, and I said I look forward to reading about something other than who was going to sodomize who and whose farts stink more. I went down the list. Each man beautiful and loving, reminding me why we were all such dear friends. But I surprised myself most of all. I settled into this new role as their little sister, like a duck to water. And then it was time. Now, in each ski or don't ski email chain, the first dude to get his deposit into that year's producer to secure the condo gets first pick of the best bed. And so on, until usually only the couch is left for the last man. So I sent out the following email blast. Guys, I'm writing that I'm officially don't ski for this year. Since girls aren't allowed, count me out. Brendo, earlier in this string you asked if you could have the closet. I say take it. It's not comfortable. It reeks of old dead things. Oh, and it's just now available. I'm not using it anymore. The tease lie design, boys. Let the games begin. Love, Scottie Jeanette Madden. But nothing happened. And by nothing, I mean nothing gross or nasty or misogynistic happened. These guys were treating me with, wait, was it respect? Whatever it was sweet and reassuring. Maybe there was hope for us. Being husbands and fathers had made them all grow up. The closest thing I got to the razzing I expected was Puffy's response. Scottie, just to really break the ice on the subject, will you now be riding snowmobile side saddle? Too soon? How about this? You're now subject to the glass ceiling, which means that you will only be paid 70% of what men are paid. Thank God. Now I might be able to hire you on a production. I'm sure that I speak for the group when I say that, though much has changed, nothing has changed. We would like you to be there if at all possible. Ciao, Bella. Oh, I mean, see you soon, Scottie. Love, Stay Puff. The rest of their responses were even more benign, falling into the those everything's changed, we will always love you sister category, and pledged support and admiration for courage. All right, what had I been afraid of for 45 years? I was beginning to forget. But okay, lest I act like I'm not paying attention. I mean, after all, 1,700 trans people are murdered in the last 10 years for being trans. But these are some of my close friends whose only stake in this game was losing a drinking buddy. But the next group that I had to come out to, the next concentric circle, had a dog in this fight. And that dog was me. It was on to my old boss, who might be a boss again in the future, and our livelihood and our ability to pay our bills. Oh, and a little circle all its own, known as the dudes. I've been putting off the chat with my cast with good reason. This circle wasn't just the cast of Dude, You're Screwed. They had become my family. I have to confess, I haven't fallen in love with a show this hard since I had done The Contender. This was my baby, and I poured everything I had into it, and I was really close with 3 of the cast members. Now, on paper, Tezer should be the toughest case of the 3, so he's going to be my canary in the coal mine. Tezer is an active duty master sergeant in the legendary Green Berets. We share a love for Rush, teamwork, being Irish, and old cartoons. Tezer is the manliest man I know and the biggest heart ever. He will and has laid down his life for his soldiers through tours of duty in Kosovo and Afghanistan. In his words, if something doesn't increase his lethality, it's not worth his time. I knew in my heart he would be okay, but like my other very guy friends, I was more worried that our friendship would change. After I told him, he was not only supportive, but he said, if anyone ever gives you any trouble, just let me know. So be warned. My big brother is a Green Beret. I thought I was going to get away clean, but as we were just about to hang up, he said, I will always love you. I got your 6, sister. So yes, this was getting hard. Yes, I'm being showered with love and support, but it's really heavy stuff. I've never cashed in my chips, preferring to know that I was rich without ever having to test it. This experience was giving everyone a place to come out with their true feelings about me. No one could fully understand what it meant to be me, but everyone was willing to at least try. They wouldn't let themselves off the hook with a shrug and a throwing up of their hands. They now knew someone who was transgender. I was flopping into bed each night like a dish rag drained by the tsunami of love that was pouring from the phone with each call. I wasn't able to reach the other dudes. Each was off doing some really manly stuff, so I had to resort to leaving cryptic messages. And then it was time. I couldn't hold off anymore. I loved the song Defying Gravity from Wicked. Too late for second guesses, too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes, and leap. So I got dressed in a soft blue blouse. I did my hair and makeup. My love took a picture. Okay, well, 35 takes later, both with the hat and without, I get a photo worthy of a new profile picture on Facebook and a seriously peeved wife. Really? 35 takes? Really? I'm sorry, my love. The responses led to many conversations, but some of the responses came in almost instantly. Of these, my favorites were my sister Kim's reaction, I look more like Scott than you do. And my friend Val, no fair, you look 35. But the one that crushed me was the one from my sister Kira that read, that is a Judy Madden smile. Thanks, Mom. It seemed that I had inspired something in those connected to me. I guess this is how we change things for the better. Be the best example of who we are, and people will notice and be inspired to be their best example of who they are. I was staring at the responses to my new face, which was suddenly blowing up my Facebook page, when I saw one that stopped time. This was from The Grenade. This is the nickname for my dear friend and member of my Dude You're Screwed cast. Jake is a former Navy SEAL whose lust, and I do mean lust for life, is equal only to his lack of social convention. In fact, Tezer calls him the social claymore, a landmine that will go off at the most inappropriate time, which, of course, Jake wears with pride. The Grenade had just posted, I love it, lady. Now, for those of you who don't speak Jakeese, this, loosely translated, means A, the cat was so far out of the bag that she's forgotten what a bag is, and B, and more importantly, he was more than cool with it. Now, word was going to ricochet amongst the cast. I knew it was only a matter of time with Jake having this information before the cast would be read in. I hadn't even stopped reading his response when my phone rang. What's up, Scott? Now, this was always a loaded question, and with Jake, it's usually both barrels. Backing up just a sec, Jake's the kind of guy who loved knowing things and loved letting you know that he could find out anything. I really do think he still has ties to naval intelligence. After working with him for 2 years, I have to say that I always suspected that he suspected that I was actually a woman. Why do I think this? Well, last year, Kristen Beck, the Warrior Princess, came out. This former Navy SEAL made one of the most powerful statements ever when she said, "I laid down my life several times for America and the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'd like a little happiness for myself now." The documentary about her first year of transition, which is called Lady Valor, premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival. I know this because on that night, my phone rang just like it did today, with the grenade being on it, just like he is today. And he says, "Guess where I am?" When I heard where he was, my hair stood on end, and I immediately went to DEFCON 2. I felt the noose tighten around my neck. Why is he telling me this? He's got to know who I am. But how could he? Because he's the grenade. He can look this stuff up. With my pulse pounding in my ears, he laughed his patented Evil Jake laugh. "I told Kristen she had to stop working out if she wanted to look like a chick. Hugging her was like hugging a strong dude." That's Jake. Dichotomies up one side and down the other. Back to the present day, I'm reminding the grenade about that call as I'm coming out to him, and he explodes with laughter all over again. Over a 3-year period, my friendship with these 3 men had been forged by the fire of exhaustion, creativity, danger, and brotherhood. They accepted me as the long-haired Hollywood leftist freak, which is not something Special Forces ops like to do, whether soldier or sailor. Neither Tez nor Jake cared, nor were they surprised when it turned out that I was their sister-in-arms all along. Jake went all big brother on me too, giving me advice about dudes. Sweet. He's changed me in his mind already. "Guys are weird about that shit. Like this. All right? So don't worry about it. Don't waste your time on the idiots. Be careful out there. There's a lot of haters. I'm with Tez. Anyone even looks at you funny, you just let me know." How could one girl have so much love? Any fear about how I would be received by the people that mattered to me most was evaporating as fast as frost before the rising sun. I wish for everyone to know this love.